Hello, beautiful people. This is Eric Kearney, president of the Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky African American Chamber of Commerce. And we have the best program in North America for you today. This is expansion. And we have the Port Authority of Greater Cincinnati. And we have the two superstars in that organization. We have Deborah Robb, director of the HURC and residential sales. Hello, Deborah, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Eric? Thank you for having us.
Yes, and not only do we have Deborah, but we also have Jessica Powell, Vice President of the Landbank. Hello, Jessica, how are you?
Hi, Eric, how are you?
Fine. So can you just kind of describe for us the Port Authority so people understand? Deborah, you've been there since, oh boy, 16 years, right?
Shortly after, years.
Yeah, shortly after it started. So just give us a brief overview. What is the port? And then what you don't cover, Jessica, would you jump in and explain?
Sure, Eric. The port has been around, like you said, since 2001. And our main focus is to put real estate back into productive use. We have 3 pillars of the organization. We have our public finance division. We have our neighborhood revitalization division. And we also have industrial revitalization.
And then Jessica, would you like to add anything to that?
No, that sums it up succinctly.
Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about the land bank, okay? So if you would, Jessica, tell us what is the land bank and how do you interact with the public?
Yeah. So land banks were created by state law specifically to take on broken real estate. The impetus for land banks was out of the foreclosure crisis back in 2007, starting in 2007. So to take vacant, abandoned, blighted, tax delinquent properties and put them into good use. That's the sole reason land banks were created, was to take this stuck property inventory that was dragging down everyone's property values, impacting public health, safety, all of that, and find a vehicle, the land bank, to take it into the land bank ownership, clean the title, and then what our land bank does and every other land bank in different ways throughout the state of Ohio and throughout the country, we work with partners to get those properties back into productive use.
Now, where do you get these properties?
There's 3 main ways that we get properties with the land bank. Sometimes people donate them. Sometimes we will pay a nominal amount of money to acquire properties. And I say nominal, this is not a money-making endeavor. We're built to lose money in all 3 wings of the port, as Deborah just described. But particularly on the land bank side, we're taking broken property that needs remediation and other things. So we'll sometimes buy for a nominal amount, donation. And then the third is that properties that go through the property tax foreclosure system that are vacant, we can acquire those properties through that mechanism as well.
Okay, so now there have been rumors out there that the land bank, the Port Authority, the HURC, whatever it may be, gives away properties for $1 or sells properties for $1. Is that true?
No. Our property.
Where do people get that idea?
Yeah, and Deborah, I think both of us, Deborah can speak a little bit to the dollar homesteading piece, but I'll just quickly say on the land bank side, to a lot of your questions, including this one, I'll just emphasize every property is different. We have and we do sell properties occasionally for $1, but we also sell properties for $100,000 and anywhere in between. And that's because every property has different needs for its rehab and value. So we can't just give away property. We lose money every day on property. So if we can recoup value on a property, it's our obligation to do that so we can reinvest it in either demolishing or boarding up or remediating other properties. We sell below market value. So I would rather sell to you if you're going to rehab a property and do right by it, versus I'm not going to sell to a speculator who doesn't have a rehab plan. So we're motivated by those different kinds of things, and sale price kind of adjusts based on that. We sell some vacant lots for $1, but otherwise, no, that's not the case.
How long does it take from the time you acquire a property, either through donation, foreclosure, or I forget what the third one you said was?
Purchase.
Purchase, right. Until you sell
it. It depends. And so it depends on the kind of property. If it's a vacant lot that is in a market where there's no market for infill housing and we put it on our website, like the questions would be, is there residential housing nearby who could use it for a side lot or for gardens and greens? If there is, then somebody will be interested very quickly in kind of adopting that into their homestead. But if not, I mean, there's properties we have in certain neighborhoods where half the street has been decimated and there's no more housing there, and it's just going to sit there until something comes along. So it depends. Some properties in certain neighborhoods are much more marketable than others. So we have homes in Evanston or Northside. If and when we get properties in neighborhoods with really strong housing markets, they're going to go quicker when we make them available to the public. So it can depend. Sometimes a really good property that's ready to sell or should be ready to sell, we end up realizing that there's title issues because such and such bank mortgage wasn't released 15 years ago. So, but the goal is when a property comes in to get it available on our website, if it's a marketable property within 30 days, and hope that we get some good candidates to adopt it.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the various land bank programs?
Yeah. So we've got, let me start with our partnership-based programs. We have what's called a community partner program, where we hold properties on behalf of nonprofit community partners who redevelop them. And if you think about a lot of the neighborhoods within the city of Cincinnati, there's CDCs like Price Hill Will working in neighborhoods, College Hill Community Development Corporation, and others that do their own development. And so we work with those CDCs to acquire property at their request and hold it until they are ready to take legal ownership of it to start redevelopment. So that's one program, which is our community partner program. Habitat for Humanity, we've gotten, I think, nearly 20 properties for them that we've acquired for them, held for them, and then either we are going to or have disposed of them for them to do single family infill or rehab. The second program we have is a government disposition program. And that's simply either when the city of Cincinnati or other county jurisdiction asks us to acquire a property on their behalf, to clean the title, to hold it for a while, and then dispose of them, whether it's for them to build a municipal building or make it part of an existing park. There's various reasons that jurisdictions might want that. And then the remaining 4 programs are really kind of consumer general public based. And the first is our side lot program. So you, Eric, live next door to a blighted home that's been blighted forever. It's finally been demolished. It's still sitting there. The grass is growing. The land bank is able to acquire it. And then in many neighborhoods, not all, you are able to apply to acquire it as a side lot and incorporate it into your home. A similar program, which will be program number 4 that I'll talk about, is our Gardens and Green program. And that's very similar to a side lot program, except that it's more where an organization or an individual wants to make a garden out of a property that's not immediately adjacent to their property. So vacant lot down the street from me, I want to turn it into a garden. That is our Gardens and Greens program. So it's slightly different than the side lot program. The third category is our single family home development. And this is for development of single family residential structures, either on vacant lots or for properties that we acquire that have structures on them to rehab them. So we sell a lot of vacant, blighted structures, and we sell them to people who kind of come up with a good redevelopment plan and commit to redeveloping them and rehabbing them and bringing them back into habitability. And then the fourth kind of catch-all, but very big category is our multi-family, multi-purpose commercial properties. A lot of properties that have like a storefront on the first floor, residential on the second, or multiplexes where there's like a rental unit component to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now it's my understanding that the land bank also does historical properties. Is that true? And can you give us an example?
Yes. So we do, a big prong of what the land bank does, in addition to like partnership sales. And I want to add, HURC, Deborah is one of my biggest partners in terms of redeveloping our homes for single family home ownership. But yes, in addition to our partnership dispositions and some of our rehabs, we do blight abatement. And as part of blight abatement, historic stabilization is kind of a niche specialty of ours. So we take historically significant properties. I say take, we work to identify properties that are historically significant. And if there's absentee ownership, extreme blight, vacancy, and I'll say vacancy over and over again because all of our properties are vacant. We never, ever deal with occupied properties. And if everything's vacant. So we will stabilize properties. And so examples of that are the Regal Theater in the West End, the Flatiron Building in Mount Auburn. You also recently probably saw in the news that there is a cable car house in Mount Auburn at the top of Highland. We just acquired it to stabilize it and to be continued. Unfortunately, it collapsed this week when we were just getting ready to go in and stabilize it. But we go in where no one else will on these historic properties and do some basic stabilization to prevent demolition by neglect. And again, going back to the partnership aspect of our work, we work with community partners to get those back into good hands or back into productive use.
Okay, thank you very much, Jessica. Sit tight.
I will.
I'm gonna transition from Jessica to the director of the HURC. Now tell people, Deborah Robb, what is a HURC? Is it a dance? No. So tell us, what is a HURC? What does HURC, H-U-R-C, stand for?
Actually, thank you, Eric. HURC stands for Homesteading and Urban Redevelopment Corporation, and we are a countywide CDC that has a focus of increasing and providing affordable home ownership opportunities to first-time home buyers and low to moderate income families and buyers. We have actually been around since 1976, so we're not a new organization by any means. And since then, we have put over 700 houses, or rehabbed over 700 houses. The Port began managing the HURC back in 2015, and since 2015, we have rehabbed 33 houses and put over $4.3 million in property value back into productive use, which is phenomenal for,
right.
Especially for a CDC to be able to do. What we also do is we provide worry-free housing to our buyers, meaning that if it is broken, we fix it. So if it needs a new roof, new HVAC, new plumbing, new electric, we take it all the way down to the studs and totally rebuild it. And then sell it to like I said, at an affordable price to buyers. We do this so that buyers do not have to worry about fixing a home as opposed to living in a home and maintaining a home. So we do not want them to worry about if they need to fix their furnace or get a new furnace, get a new roof, new windows, whatever. We take that worry away from them.
Wow, that's pretty generous. And you do all that yourself, or you hire people to do that?
We hire contractors to do that.
Okay, okay. Now tell us, how is HURC different than the land bank? So you only do residential and the land bank does more? Or?
So the HURC mainly only does affordable residential housing. So for sale housing. So we do not do any rental at all.
Okay. And then do you operate throughout Hamilton County, or are there only certain neighborhoods in which you work?
That's a great question, Eric. We work throughout Hamilton County for, and we are, like I said, a county-wide CDC, but we also work in concert with the Land Bank's REACH program that provides market rate housing to neighborhoods. So while they're providing the market rate housing, we are working hand in hand with them to provide affordable housing so that everyone has an opportunity to live in a neighborhood.
Okay. Now, how do you identify the right buyer for the right property?
That's a good question. We actually don't identify buyers. I'm a realtor, so we put all of our houses on for sale on MLS. We do post our houses that are coming soon on our website so that people know that we steer them to the website all the time so that they know what houses are coming available. It also depends on the funding that we receive to cover the gap. So we rehab houses, and the cost of the rehab is always a lot more than what we can sell the houses for. So we apply for funding for that gap. For instance, some funding that we have received are City of Cincinnati NOFA funds, and NOFA stands for Notice of Funds Availability. NOFA funds require that, that the buyers are at or below the 80% area median income for Hamilton County. So the area median income for a family in Hamilton County is $86,300. So for a family of four, and at the 80% mark, the household income should be at or below $69,050. So that drives the amount that a family can, or a buyer can make in order to purchase our homes. And then they go through home ownership training through either working in neighborhoods or the home ownership center that verifies their income, that they meet those guidelines.
Do you have to go through the home ownership program in order to qualify for a HURC home?
If the funding requires that they meet those guidelines.
Oh, okay.
Those are the two organizations that have contracted with the City of Cincinnati to be able to provide those services. Okay.
So are there some properties where you don't have to go through that qualification? And in answering that question, do you also rent out housing?
We do not rent any housing. Okay. There are houses that do not require that they be below the 80% area median income. We do have houses, sorry, the Amazon person, sorry about that. We do have houses in other neighborhoods that are not in our focus neighborhoods that we have listed for sale, and they do not require the 80% below AMI.
Okay, okay. So how does someone qualify for one of these homes?
So there's actually no qualification per se unless they meet the income guidelines, but as long as they can afford a mortgage and have been approved by their bank to be able to afford a mortgage, then they qualify.
So the process with the HURC is you would identify the house and then you would go to your bank and see if you can afford it, or do you apply through the HURC in order to qualify?
There is no application process. And so, like I said, we list our houses on MLS just like any other entity or buyer or seller would list them on MLS. And then you would go and get pre-approved from your bank to be able to purchase a home. So it's just like any other home buying process for any other neighborhood or any other house.
Okay. How can someone get a hold of someone at the HURC if they're interested in a property?
They can always send us an email. They can send an email to myself at drobb@cincinnatiport.org. They can also go on our website and send an email through our website. And I answer every email that we receive via the HURC website.
Mm-hmm. So you bring up a good point. You shared your contact information, which we certainly appreciate. And so could you please say it one more time so that people can have a chance to write it down or type it?
Absolutely. It's drobb@cincinnatiport, and that's all one word, .org.
Okay. So Jessica, would you do the same, please? If people wanted to reach you at the Land Bank, how would they do that?
My email is jpowell, and that's JPOWELL at cincinnatiport.org. And then in terms of the properties that we have available on our Land Bank website, it's hamiltoncountylandbank.org. And you can just click on available properties and see what's in our inventory if you're interested in applying.
Okay. Well, thank you both very much for participating in this. I view this as an opportunity for those people who are interested in either investing in real estate or in need of a home. You can contact the Port Authority and either speak with Deborah or Jessica and get started. One thing that just came to mind, Deborah, can investors also buy these homes from the HURC? Or do you have to be you have to reside in the home?
All of our homes, HURC and REACH, are home ownership only. And so there is a 5-year restrictive covenant on our houses that they remain home owner occupant buyers for the first 5 years. And the reason for that is to ensure that we are putting home ownership opportunities back into the neighborhoods that we serve. Okay. And put our houses into the hands of investors.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. And I should have probably asked you that earlier, but it just came to mind just now. So thank you both. Greatly appreciate it. CincinnatiPort.org, CincinnatiPort.org. And great thanks to Jessica Powell for attending today, and also Deborah Robb, both of the Port Authority. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay. Thank you.